I do have two experiences of being in a foreign country and then being exposed to the real way people live. One was in China in 1983. I think it was 1983 when the right in the middle of the Cultural Revolution with the Mao Zedong trial, the trial of the three, and we flew in from New Zealand, going up to Hong Kong, and then we flew into China with the idea of smuggling Bibles into China. So it was like a spy trip, but then during the day, the first thing we were told is the first order of priority is to disperse the Bible, and we were told and given direction on where to go from our hotel to drop the bag of Bibles that we were bringing in. Some were in our heavy goat, just loaded up with all the pockets full with these little Bibles. And it was not that important as it was for the people who were in the churches in China, because they were, from what we were told, there were people writing down scriptures every day to make sure that they have a record of the Bible. So when we brought in the Bible, it was their way of saying they now have the written word of God in their hands. But then after we dispersed the Bible, we were given the freedom to just go around. We went to the Great Wall, and we also went to these communities. There were communes of places where a family can have a little piece of property, piece of land right around their home, and they do plant vegetables and all of that. So they were living off of that. And it was not only an introduction to the Chinese way of life back then, but it's a very big difference today with how China has become a manufacturing center of the world. So, but that was my memory of being in China, was having a chance to disperse Bibles in the morning and in the first day that we were there, and then the second day and the rest of the week we were in China. We were in Beijing. We went on these many different tours. We went to the Forbidden City. We went to Underground City, and it was just a beautiful exposure to the culture and to the way of life. And then when we were introduced to these little communities around China, of course, it was always a propaganda on look at how well we are taking care of our people. But it's a different story behind that. But the second one of those experiences when I was in Africa with a team of young people that we were running a school, and then they set up a day that we had to go into the interior of South Africa to a little kingdom. It's a real kingdom of people who have a king and his council around him. So they set it up that we would come in and say hi to them, be greeted and welcomed in their community. And then we had an exchange of gifts and ideas. Wonderful experience, but it also was a totally different setup than it was in China. So we had one in Africa and one in China. And as I have been thinking about this YouTube community and the extension of people who are looking for new experiences and looking for new things, it's come to my mind, what if I were to put together a group that helped me define what might be defined as a trip of a lifetime for some people who have never been in that kind of setting. And I'm talking to you, inviting you to consider being a part of that core group that we're going to bring in our community with my YouTube channel, to put together some ideas on if you were to take a trip, maybe for a week, maybe for 3 or 4 days, and go to a country where it is outside of America, but within the reach of America, what that trip would entail. If you were on that trip, what would you like to be included in your experience that will have an impact on you, and you can come back and talk to your friends and share a unique story that most people will never experience. But if it is something that is worth putting together, then we can I am thinking of a destination like in American Samoa. It's an island country south of Hawaii, and right now it's the only territory of the United States south of that region, and it's the farthest south island group that is a part of America. The people there. That's where I'm from. But I still know some of the chiefs that are living today, and I would love to have a chance to find out from a group of people on what they would like to have in a trip. Let's say would go there for a week, and you will live in the village. The homes there are just like anywhere in the U.S., but the culture is still alive and well in so many ways, and the village has chiefs, and they are the people who come together every week to decide good things for the village. And they can be a hosting group that can host visitors coming into the islands. And we can put together entertainment, because most of the time the programs like this are put together by people who are in the community, hoping that they would put together something that they thought might be of value to those who are traveling from the outside. But I thought, what if we change the idea of formulating this from a standpoint of people there producing something that is based on their concept of what might be of interest to the tourist. But instead of that, we would put something together and find out what is important. If you were to put a group together that would go into a village with the idea of being exposed to a people group and a culture that is outside of your own, what must be included in that package for the whole time that you're there? How would you put the group together, and what would that be like in your input for the first initial group that can come together? I was reminded my wife used to work for American Express when in her college days, maybe after her college days. And she would travel with a group to places like Peru, and they would go and experience the different sightseeing, the different places where people congregate, and all that. And they would put together a package that would be presented to tourists somewhere in the East Coast of America who are interested in that kind of production. When they get there, the trip will be based on what they assess to be of importance and of interest. But just think about this. What if you have a part in contributing to what you want included in a package like this? Everything from housing, from visiting, from what you want to see, how you want to interface with people, the things that they consider to be important, how you can learn, the few words that needs to be shared and talked about, so that it becomes words that you can bring with you back home. And now you have a story that you can tell of something that is different. Now, I also remember in my own experience growing up as a little kid, a time when there was a film company, a gentleman who came with a film crew. They brought their own generator because we had no electricity in the village. So they brought their own generator, and they filmed our village council and elders in the context of making decisions, in the context of how they meet, who meets, and he film all of this, and then the preparation of a special meal or special preparation for what to feed the chiefs with. And then they do the welcome ceremony for this white guy who came with his film crew. And they film the whole village with their lifestyle. I'm thinking, what if I can help put some things together? And the reason I'm thinking of American Samoa is because right now in the US, there's a real introduction of Samoa to the American culture. And you might see them in the National Football League, the NFL, because there are big guys who are playing football every Sunday, and then on Saturday with college football, there are these young Samoans who came from those kind of settings, come here, and they have to go through the cultural barriers to make it to America and then to play football, which is something they learn as a skill set. And they have exceeded that and became very, very successful. As a matter of fact, the other thing is they came out with the statistics that a child born to a Samoan family is 56 times more likely to play in the National Football League in America than a child who grew up in any other groups of parenting. That's a pretty high amount, and there's a lot of them, and there's more coming. And so what if we would put together a tour like that? And the other reason, let me just get back and go to this. The other reason is because American Samoa, you don't need a visa to go to the country, because American Samoa is a territory of the United States. So all you need to have is a passport if you're from North America. And you can go there, and there is a lot of other people from America who are living in American Samoa. Some of them have married into the culture. Some of them have come in for contracts with the government on any areas of industries. And then, but that would make it very easy and accessible. There are 3 flights every week coming from Hawaii with Hawaiian Airlines that provides transportation back and forth. And so there's a lot of infrastructure in place, but we don't have a program that is specifically for this kind of need. And I think it will help start an industry within the culture and within the setting of the country to help in their economic growth and economic development. And you can participate and be known as a participating member, founding member of a group like that, who came together and give input on what you want. Your input is solicited and invited to it. And there's a very good chance when a trip like that become possible, I will consider traveling with that group to the islands for the first time to make sure that everything is organized. I mean, everything is working out right. And it would be good to meet people who participated in this, because we intend not only to do this for one island group, we can do this for many other groups, including transitioning to Africa and to Asia. And so I thought I'll just bring this idea to you and see if this is something that appeals to you and something that might have an interest in not only what you might consider to be participating in it in the forming of ideas, but also participating in it to being a part of the first group that goes in to enjoy what you and other people have put contribution and input into. What do you think? This is something that I'm really driven, and I'm really excited about it, because my wife and I spent 6 years in the islands before we moved back to St. George 6 years ago. We spent time there. We built the farm. I had a radio program for 3 hours live, And I was able to talk to the whole country from this one radio station that is the main radio station for the whole country. And then we had a farm, a tree farm that was destroyed by the hurricane. So we make sure that we don't go on the hurricane season, because there are hurricane seasons, and then the rest of the time is in the tropics. I think it is something that you and I can contribute in something that not only will become a very good tool to be released to other countries and have other people participate into future tours and trips like this based on interest. But to me, the value of this is two things. One is the Samoan people has a very high respect and appreciation of the American culture. Number one, we have a very strong religious background. And our religious background is based on the fact that we have a respect for the missionaries who came from Europe, from America, and start teaching our people the ways of God and building churches and structures that are today the same foundation for the church system in the islands. It would be good to see some other development that I think so much of it can be done and facilitate the strength of the West and some of the Pacific Island cultures and so forth. But one of the other things that I really think will have a greater value is, I've said, and I have a video that says, the world will be a better place when every culture contributes to the worship of Jesus. This is not necessarily the worship of Jesus. This is an introduction to a culture that has the mix of religion. Some of it has a lot to do with the ancient gods and the ancient history. And that can be a part of really learning and discovering some of the beauty that you will find in people. Because in Samoa today, there's mixture of Asians, there's a mixture of other Pacific Islanders, Fijian, Guamanian, Solomon Islanders, mixing together, marrying each other. And so the culture is made up of all of the different blends of nationality and people from different places. And then there are also 100% Samoans. I happen to be quarter Tahitian. My mom's side is Samoan. My dad's side is, I'm 1/8 Tahitian. And I also have traveled throughout the whole Tahitian island. When my grandmother passed, I knew it was time for me to go and explore my other side of my family, which is my dad's side. However, I have a goal. I like to ask for your help aside from this. And I will talk some more about this, because what I want to do is to offer you a chance. You can make a comment in the community. I created a community on the channel that you can volunteer. You can say, hey, I'm interested to give some input. I'm interested maybe to participate and be a founder of the group of putting an idea like this together. And I'm also might be interested in traveling there myself to experience firsthand what it's like to be in a place where you are appreciated and respected. And at the same time, you can find a place in your heart to receive a culture different than yours into yours, because it really is how we blend. It's not multiculturalism. It's every culture respecting the domain that their history originated with God. And by reflecting that to other cultures, and instead of pushing other cultures away, it's bringing people together with a respect that everybody has a gift and a contribution to make the world a better place. Again, if you like this video and you like this, you can comment on the community link that is in the community, and would love to hear from you. By the way, again, help me reach 100 subscribers by the end of this month. and share this video with your friends. And by the way, looking forward to see you again. This is Sosenele Au saying bye-bye for now.